a fired ABC news reporter is just speaking out, and he's kind of echoing a little bit of what I said. The problem is, it's like, why are you telling us now? Like, why were you trying to stand up there and pretend you were something else? It's a little bit of a headache for Disney, because he's exposing, if you would, Disney and ABC for all it is, and all the, the pretending of being somehow unbiased. Remember at The View when Sunny Houston was like, oh, well, we're ABC News, and that was Joy Behar. They're like, why does anybody listen to Joe Rogan? Who's Joe Rogan? Who is this guy? Like, we've never heard of him. Of course you haven't, because you're living under your tunnel, right? And they think he believes in dragons. And now Joe has like a Joe Believes in Dragons t-shirt that's like selling like hotcakes. It's kind of funny. Anyway, they were like, oh, how dare he? I mean, we're ABC News. We got the legal notes. We got this, that, and the other. We're so unbiased. And we're all like, really? Like, do you guys hear yourselves? Well, here's one of those reporters from one ABC News proving that, you know what? They're not that unbiased. In fact, there's a ton of bias. Every single one of them has it. They just try and pretend otherwise, right?
My own feeling is you don't sacrifice your citizenship as journalism, and your job is not to be objective. There is no Mount Olympus of objectivity where a Mandarin class of wise people have no feelings about what their society. We're all in this together. What you have to be is fair and accurate. And I would refer to the interview with the president that I did, or a lot of my work. And I would also say that this, while very hot, is an observation, a description that is accurate and true.
Really? You thought that interview you did with the president was really accurate and true? What about this one? Do you think this was accurate, true? When you talked about not having brains but biles? That seems to me to be not just a description, but something that is actually tremendously subjective and therefore can't actually be accurate. Well, just like, physically is not accurate. Mr. Terry Moran, there's another way some people like to pronounce it. But anyway, he said this horrible thing about Stephen Miller, and it was really inexcusable. I'm not even going to read the whole thing because, you can see it on X, but it's just gross. And it was so bad that the vice president actually picked it up. And this is what lost the guy his job, right? A couple of weeks ago, you had this news that Terry Moran posted a total vile smear on one Stephen Miller. And it was so not accurate, and it was so objective and so opinionated and so wild that, ABC actually said, we got to fire the guy over it. They came out and said at ABC News, we hold all our reporters to the highest standards of objectivity, fairness, and professionalism. He's trying to say, really, there is no objectivity. Well, you know who knew that? One Donald Trump, remember, in that accurate interview?
Do you think the reputation of the United States has gone down under your presidency?
No, I think it's gone way up, and I think we're a respected country again. We were laughed at all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, couldn't walk down a flight of stairs, couldn't walk across the stage without falling. We had a president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news.
All right. Thank you.
And by the way, ABC is one of the worst. I have to be honest with you.
Thank you.
Well, that was accurate. Right? They just had this whole go around, right? Where Donald Trump basically humiliated the guy. So maybe, he had an axe to grind. I don't know. His opinion on Stephen Miller was clearly an opinion. And for him to sit there and say like there's any accuracy or whatever in it, I'm sorry. He was off the rails. I don't know. Maybe he had a few too many pops. It was a Saturday night. No excuse for it. Donald Trump, speaking to one Terry Moran just a couple days earlier, said this.
Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. But I picked you, Terry. Hey, but you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry.
Terry. Come on, Terry. Terry. That was great, right? So anyway, now he's out. But why isn't, I don't know, like Joy out or Whoopi out or Sunny out? Like, why is this the guy that's out? Why are they like trying to hold him? Maybe because it's all right. He's part of our news division. They're kind of still our news division, but maybe we'll classify them more in the sense of entertainment. So we're going to let them get to live another day. But in the case of this guy, he really is out. He's like hanging up a shingle. And you know what? I'm not gonna say this is wrong, because actually I'm a big believer that if you can't sort of stick to the script and play both sides fairly as a network news journalist, then you really don't belong as a network news journalist, right? You just don't, and you shouldn't. And at least now he's telling us what he really thinks.
Hello, everyone. I'm Terry Moran, and for almost 28 years, I was a reporter and anchor for ABC News. And as you may have heard, I'm not there anymore. I'm here with you on Substack, this amazing space, and I can't wait to get at it, to get at the important work that we all have to do.
Yeah, no. Okay. You do your little important work. We'll see if anybody actually listens. But I would just say this. It's important that people be able to speak their minds. And if you're going to be at one of these networks, I mean, I don't even know why they're there anymore, because you know, you can go around the internet and you can go around YouTube and you can hear all kinds of different viewpoints. And I actually think that's far more interesting than hearing only one particular side. Remember when Tucker Carlson got in all that trouble with all the liberal media outlets, and Clinton called him basically a voice for our enemies, etc., when he decided he was going to interview one Vladimir Putin? And my thought on that was, you know what? Great, because we get to hear more from Putin, and whether or not it's disinformation, misinformation, isn't that my decision to actually decide, me as an individual? So if you're over here, you don't have to agree with what I'm saying. You could say she's full of you know what and leave, but at least you're actually hearing it. One of the reasons I think it's actually very important, and you know I do quite a job of, and so you guys are like, wait, do we really have to hear that MSNBC person again? And I say yes, because you need to hear all sides. Like, it's critical. You want to be able to discern what everybody out there is saying, and we shouldn't shut anyone off, because the way to better understand and articulate our own positions is to hear the dissonance and to hear what's going on the other side. So great, he gets to go do his own thing. He never should have been at ABC News, though, really, to begin with, unless ABC News just wanted to tell us it was ABC News and opinion. Right? Because that's what it is. It's ABC News and opinion. Lots of opinion, whether it be from their morning show, whether it be from their World News Tonight. And remember David, who cares a lot about his hair. He does, trust me. I mean, cares a lot about his hair, and he cares a lot about, making sure this, that, and the other. They are all anti-Trump. But just own it. Don't pretend to be anything else. Just own it. And then we have a little bit more. Just a little bit more respect for you. But think about it. This is exactly why YouTube has taken over this space. This is exactly why legacy TV, as you know it, as I know it, is really and truly over. And this is why something else is going to be over.
Stephen Miller put a post out about the details of the big, beautiful bill, and he was attacked by one of the reporters apparently on ABC. I saw your tweet about it, and you say last night in a since deleted post, so-called journalist Terry Moran went on a rampage against Stephen Miller. What happened, Caroline?
Well, ABC is going to have to answer for what their, again, so-called journalist put out on Twitter in the wee hours of the night, calling Stephen Miller vile. They said that President Trump is a world-class hater. And this is, again, coming from someone who is supposed to be an unbiased and professional journalist. This is unacceptable and unhinged rhetoric coming from someone who works at a major television network. We have reached out to ABC. They have said they will be taking action, so we will see what they do.
Indeed, they did. Okay, so they took action, but that's fine. They took it there. But what about the rest of the operation, for goodness sakes? Why would one Whoopi Goldberg get a pass? I mean, I know that The View has gotten a warning. I know that Bob Iger is like, hey. I mean, we've got one ABC reporter admitting, finally, guess what? The media is biased. It always has been, always will be, because we're all just human beings. Okay, so be it. So why do you pretend to be something else? Oh, maybe because you're state media on steroids, if you ask me. When you look at The View, I mean, for goodness sake, somebody wants to spit every time they say the president's name.
Listen, take him seriously and take him literally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that we have to. I think it would be remiss of us to not say Joe Biden knows how to do this. Yes, he knows how to do this. He's quite good at this. And you know, you can't refute anything with him because he just, when I say him, I mean
he rambles.
Trump.
Yeah.
He tends to just.
But can I mention one thing? Because Trump is out there calling.
Did you say his name?
I said his name.
Oh.
Yeah, so she has to say or spit every time she says his name. I mean, again, it's no wonder that the legacy media business has just officially died.
Something that I'm still struggling with, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on, is how did a convicted felon resonate more with Americans than a hyper-qualified woman of color? Do you think that racism and misogyny played any part in this election?
Well, you know, listen, I think that Vice President Harris was eminently...
She says it all from the question. He actually goes on to say the economy did matter, blah, blah, blah. But you know where she's going with this. So you have all of these hosts. I mean, they don't know what to do. They're trying to say, can we get a conservative? I'll tell you, any conservative that would go on that show, good luck to you. Good luck to you. All right. That is one thankless job. They better pay you a heck of a lot of money to ever step foot on that set, right? But this is in part why the FCC chair, Brandon Carr, in Trump's FCC is saying enough, right? Like, you guys with your bias are so out of control. This is why Brandon Carr said we want to have a full-on investigation into all the DEI nonsense you put in place, because you've basically violated trust with the American viewers. One, because you're so opinionated and clearly wrong. Your $16 million payment because of the George Stephanopoulos stuff proves it. And on top of that, you're in violation of the Constitution because you're selecting people apparently based on race as opposed to being based on their qualifications. And that's just so unbelievably wrong, as Brandon articulated himself recently.
Your probe into Disney's DEI policies. Their senior counsel writes, this is all about bullying and intimidation. Mr. Carr's most powerful tool is his vote on the commission to approve mergers and acquisitions. Is this about Disney's hiring practices, or is it about something else?
Yeah, this is about the hiring practices and their employment practices. Look, broadcasters, and Disney owns one, ABC, they have an obligation under federal law. We have EEO rules at the FCC, which means you can't make hiring decisions based on protected characteristics, including gender and race. And the evidence we have so far indicates potentially that Disney and ABC were making employment decisions based on race and gender, including having effectively race-defined affinity groups within the company. We have evidence that they put quotas in place based on specific demographics. If the evidence does, in fact, play out and shows that they were engaged in race and gender-based discrimination, that's a very serious issue at the FCC that could fundamentally go to their character qualifications to even hold a license. But we're going to follow the facts wherever they go. Look, President Trump's been clear. We are turning the page on DEI. The first week I was chairman of the FCC, I said we are ending our own promotion of DEI at the FCC. People will be shocked if they learned the millions of dollars that the FCC alone was spending to promote DEI. We had it listed as our second highest strategic priority. I mean, think about everything the FCC can and should be doing. National security issues, bridging the digital divide, space economy. And we had promoting DEI as our number 2 strategic priority. Now we're going to focus on our core mission.
The core mission. Getting back to basics. What do you know? Oh, that's bad news for The View, and that's bad news for Disney, and that's bad news for MSNBC. MSNBC tried to get out of it, though. Remember, they fired this girl.
So if you think that you can vote for what people see as their destruction and then demand that they still are cool with you and kiki with you and have Thanksgiving with you, like, I think you're kind of missing the point.
Well, I mean, so much to go through, so many questions. I came onto the set and Willie said, hey, by the way, because we were talking about the historic nature of this sweep.
Yeah.
And Willie said, do you know, he only lost Illinois by 4 points.
4 points in
New Jersey by 5. I mean, you talk about
So they get rid of Joy, And it's amazing, right? It's amazing. I'm looking at Don's tweet here, his comment actually in our discussion. He's pointing out that Disney has lost so much money on streaming. It's true, right? Like it's just a disaster. They got to try and figure it out. YouTube has that cornered. And Netflix is next in line. But anyway, look, they fired, what are we saying? Suspended. They fired that host, right? There on Disney. You've got MSNBC realizing that they better somehow shape up. Actually, I shouldn't say that. You know what? It's not the entire network. It's just some of the network. So you've got some realists over there. And these people are like survivors, okay? We're talking Joe and Mika in the morning. They are total survivors. So while the Joy Reids out there are like, don't go to Christmas with your family. Don't do this. You have to shun people. Like Joe gets the story. He's a former politician, for goodness sakes, right? I mean, he's out there again, like just touting this whole victory. You saw him the next day. This is amazing. We haven't seen anything since Reagan, to the point where he and Mika go down to Mar-a-Lago right after the election and they quote unquote, well, we'll let Rosie O'Donnell say it. Kiss the ring. She's not happy about that. Not happy. Nor are the viewers, actually. But Joe and Mika, they know where their bread is buttered. They're not taking any chances, right? Rosie's not watching. She's over there in Ireland.
Hold, please. So Mika and Joe went down to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring. It's the last time I ever watched Morning Joe. Period. End of statement. Unreal. Unreal. For months you were telling us he's the worst thing that could happen to this country and democracy. And then you go kiss his ring? Despicable.
Despicable.
Despicable you. Both of you.
We're going to change our lower third here, right? That's what they call it. ABC News fires host, not suspends. This guy's gone. He's toast, ladies and gentlemen. And it's all coming just as we're getting new word that, boy, you know what? He's telling you one thing out there on CNBC. Bob Iger's like, I really want to keep ABC. I really think it's great. Just as we learn legacy media has completely hit rock bottom. YouTube comes out as number one, and Bob Iger actually wants to pretend like ABC's all that. Well, he's got to say something. He's got to say something because he's got the likes of this lady on his
What's
air.
interesting for me is that
Come on.
people's faith in the country is waning. That's the thing that's pissing me off. Because, in fact, there's a reason Joe Biden ran the way he did. There's a reason he's running for democracy now, because that's really what's at stake. You worried that you can't pay your bill? Wait till the other guy becomes president, and you won't have to worry about it because you'll be in some camp somewhere. Because that's his promise. His promise to us is he's going to force people to do his bidding. That's what he said. I'm going to be good on day one, and I'm going to turn into this other person. So here's the deal. This is all up to you. This is all up to you. We can sit up here till we're green in the face. But this really comes down to the people. What is the country you want?
Okay, so that was her plea. All right, that was her big plea. Don't vote for Trump under any circumstances, because if you do, we're going to be in this situation where she, alleged that he's going to lock up all the gays and this, that, and the other. It was crazy talk. But what is interesting is that what we're seeing right now, again, if we think about how we discussed in the beginning of this program, that Letitia James is out there trying to fire back at the feds and go after cops that might be working with ICE. And she wants a list of people, all while the federal government is coming in and saying, hey, maybe we need to nationalize our National Guard here in the state of New York, similar to what was done in California, because we can't have you guys at odds with us. Like, that's where we are right now. So Whoopi wasn't entirely wrong. It's just that she didn't want the outcome that actually America wanted. Right? America said, and you look at all the poll numbers, even in the state of New York, with 79% of people saying if somebody has been convicted of a crime and they are here illegally, we want them out of the country. This is where America is. So yes, they voted on the economy, but they also voted on immigration. And so any which way you slice it, if your job as president is to actually carry out what you promised to do, when you were on the campaign, then how is what he's doing in any way wrong? And so the more they sink in on this stuff, I just think, look, they're fine to say it, but you got to stop saying we're ABC News and we're journalism with a capital J, all right? Like one of you guys actually said, I have a new logo for them. I should show it. It was kind of a funny J that you guys had because it's really not a capital J. It's a silly, silly, silly J. And you all get it. I mean, we're sitting here going, why are they still there? Peace in my mind, making a very good point, asking, I'm sorry, I got to figure out how to, forgive me, I got to figure out how to put these up more correctly so it's not crooked on the screen, piece of my mind. But I think this is an excellent comment. How do you define what race and gender is if you can't define what a woman is, right? It's like we're in this twisted, bizarre, crazy landscape where we don't define what a woman is, and yet and we're not really supposed to, define colors, but you are, like you can see it, but you can't see it. I mean, you start to get a little twisted. No wonder everybody's got troubles these days, right? You don't know which end is up. And then you got Disney saying, oh, we're so proud of our DEI. This is going to come back to haunt them. I'll tell you, Bob Iger, watch out, because Brandon Carr is no joke. He's completely serious on this. He's already sent you multiple letters. This is the most recent letter that went at the end of March where he said, we're looking into this DEI stuff. Okay, and this DEI stuff is a problem. I want to ensure that Disney and ABC have not been violating FCC equal employment opportunity. I mean, we have FCC equal employment opportunity. We do have those regulations. We have those laws on the books. And so you can't violate those by promoting invidious forms of DEI discrimination. While I have seen reports that Disney recently walked back some of its DEI programs, significant concerns remain. He also said, you guys, and this is really important in the letter, this is important even to Disney shareholders, right? You should care about this right now because he's willing to go back in time to see whether or not any of these DEI programs were in place. And even if they recently ended, then guess what? Disney is still in full violation. And so then you get a situation where, one, they were violating the law, the FCC laws on equal employment, and then two, they were simultaneously losing and abusing the trust, if you would, of everyday Americans, which is why Brandon Carr originally sent a letter back in December, right before Donald Trump came into office, saying, hey, guys, guess what? We may decide to not allow for those 250 or so affiliates, I'm making up the number, but it's about that, to actually have ABC affiliation because you guys don't deserve to be carrying the news on federal airwaves. I mean, the FCC owns those airwaves, so you can see now they're up a creek without a paddle. And I suspect it's going to get worse. And you know what? It should get worse. It should get worse. They should actually just, you know what? They should sell the thing because they don't know how to make a dime out of it anyway. I get that Bob's like, no, we got to keep it. We got to keep it. He wants to keep it because nobody wants to give him any money for it because it's not worth that much. I mean, ESPN might be able to turn a dime or two because people pay for sports. We've talked about this. But on the news front, I'm sorry, it's a commodity and you don't really have any compelling personalities. And, well, it's free everywhere else. So why do you think people are going to pay for your streaming? This was something I've showed you guys before about the boys' costumes, right, listed. I mean, how is this not some kind of violation of something? I don't know. I was so offended. This was like Halloween a couple of years ago. I'm looking for a Dash costume because my son is a runner and wants to go as Dash, and I do a search for boys costumes on Disney and look what comes up, a whole bunch of princess things. You gotta be kidding me. So they're in a fresh conflict with the FCC, and it's the last thing they need at a time like this, especially right as they're dealing with Snow White being such a disaster. I'm telling you, they're gonna have to think about this. I realize they want to try and cash in on streaming, but guess what? YouTube's already got that cornered. They've been at it for 20 years. 20 years, imagine that. They just had their big birthday, and today announcing that they have succeeded in overtaking everything. So they're numero uno. Look, I'm not saying that the little guy can't get ahead, but this is not exactly the little guy. This is the Disney Channel we're talking about. And they have been losing a ton of money there on Disney streaming. And I expect that they're probably going to lose a lot more unless they wake up. You know what? They could wake up and come to their senses and get rid of some shows that are costing them money, like The View. We keep saying it. I get it, guys. I know it's frustrating because I'm like, it's just not. But you know what? Have I ever proved you wrong? I've been like right on all this. I mean, I hate to say I told you so, but did I not tell you so? Joy Reid, bye-bye. I suspect Peppermint Patty will soon be bye-bye. I suspect that they may keep Rachel because they think that she can bring in something, but at some point she's going to actually have to work 5 days a week. You know, you have to actually work for a living. At 25 mil, you know? You got to do something to earn it, Rachel. And I do suspect at some point they're going to have to get rid of this particular show because it is total garbage. I do believe that Fox News has overtaken it, although they probably overtook it a while back. I remember being on that show Outnumbered, and we were already toppling them. So The View is becoming quite toxic. From an advertiser standpoint, you don't want that toxicity, right? You do not want that, which is why if you're not going to have anything in the way of advertising, maybe you have something in the way of viewership. They're doing okay, in fairness to them, like they haven't completely cratered like MSNBC has, but they're not doing great. And they're not doing great enough to justify the kind of cost that goes into producing a show like The View every day. You know, you got the live studio audience and the zillions of cameras and a team of 150 producers, et cetera. They've already laid off a lot of the producers. They laid off Whoopi's team. They did actually announce more layoffs at ABC News as recently as within the last 10 days, and more layoffs, of course, at Disney within the entertainment division. I suspect at some point they're going to have to say, look, these ladies either pull it together or we're going to pull the plug. So Bob Iger has allegedly sat down the head of ABC News as well, and they've basically gone to Whoopi and to Joy and to Ana Navarro, all of these people, and said, hey, you know, we've got to actually pivot. We'd like to do some entertainment stories. We'd like to do some lifestyle stories. We'd like to stay away from the toxic politics that's digging us deeper and deeper into the hole. And it's not clear that message was so well received. I mean, other than maybe by Whoopi, I will, to her credit, say she is a pro and a professional, and she is an actress above it all, and she's tried to scale back, but her colleagues won't. So apparently the head of ABC News, I'm not even going to try to say this poor guy's name, reportedly, poor guy, right, because he's going to deal with all these crazies, reportedly met recently with the host and with the show producer to suggest a broader, less politically driven agenda. They didn't like that. No, they didn't like that. They didn't like it so much that, you know, Whoopi's out there snapping at her producers live on the air. This was interesting. So this particular clip really struck me. I mean, maybe she was trying to tease them a little bit, but I also think part of what was going on was she was mad because what is she supposed to talk about if she's not talking about Trump? You got to give her a script. She's an actress, remember?
What's interesting for me is that people's faith in the country is waning.
Yes.
That's the thing that's
No, I don't think
pissing me
people's
off.
faith in the country has waned at all. I think people's faith in the media has waned. I think people's faith in the Democrat Party has waned, but have they lost faith altogether? In the United States of America, absolutely not. I mean, you saw a record number of people coming out to vote for Donald Trump. He got the Electoral College. Remember that, okay? And the popular vote. News today, and we'll talk about that in a segment that I have coming up later this afternoon about just exactly what some foreign entities may have tried to do in that last cycle. We'll talk about that, as I said, later on in the afternoon. So stay tuned. Make sure, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Make sure you do that. Share, like, comment. I want to get to MSNBC. We got a lot to talk about there. But before I do, we're looking at a market that's off today. My son even said to me, he's home from school now, he's like, Mom, my Bitcoin's way down. my Ether, it's way down, like everything. I said, honey, everything's down. So I bought a little bit today. I mean, gosh, even gold was down, I think, at one point. If you're interested in investing, and believe me, you should be, you need to be, you want to be. I'm going to get into my mom thing here with you. Like I tell my son, we go through this all the time. You know, he'll want some new pair of sneakers. And I'm like, do you really want the sneakers? Because if you put the $200 in the market and over the span of 20 years, and I get into my compound interest speech, you're going to have a whole lot more sneakers than you would. It's important to remember that. So really, you know, as you have these, and I'm not saying that we don't all deserve little things here and there, but just remember that the cost is not just the cost of the sneakers or the particular thing you want itself. It's the forward-looking opportunity cost of what that money could otherwise be doing for you. And so hopefully we've created a scenario there at 76 Research where that money is actually going to be working for you, because we got lots of great picks. I think our Father's Day pick is up some 23%, and lots more room to go. So go to 76 Research, sign up for the 76 report. We do have portfolios on there. You manage your money. We don't do it. You do it all, okay? So the money stays in your hands completely, but we provide you with the picks and the things that we like and the landscape to help you navigate all of this volatility. And so when things are down, this is when, my clearance speech, my dad used to say to me, Happy Father's Day, by the way, to all the dads out there. My dad used to say to me when we shopped as kids at Marshall's, because, we were okay, but we watched everything. And so I would get all my clothes at Marshall's and we'd go straight to the clearance rack. And my dad would say, you only buy clearance. It's the best brand out there, Trish, best brand. So I thought clearance was like Chanel or something, really, forever and ever. And I try and tell my kids that too. And when you're learning about investing, you want to get value. You want to be able to buy when things are low. And so when people are scared, those are your moments and opportunities. You can learn more at 76 Research. Use code word $.